I think. Hi, sir. Good evening, sir. Yeah. So this is Anil, by the way.
Yeah, Anil sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think Srinivas sir is live. So, yeah. I hope most of us here joined here understands what Srinivas sir vision and his journey is. However, to all let you know, just a quick brief thing. Mr. Srinivas Raju sir is currently serving as a CEO for Unisting Tech Solutions (UTS), which we normally call as. He has around 20 years of experience in electronics and military warfare. As an before taking the position as a CEO, he served in DLR, that's DRDO Labs, for around 11 years, from around 2003 to 2014. And prior to that, he is an alumni of IISc Bangalore, and prior to that, he is an alumni from NIT Varangal from electronics. And he has a strong knowledge and expertise in terms of image processing, or it could be FPGA or VLSI, MATLABs, machine learning, electronic warfare, wireless communication systems, military communication. So, and also very strong, being strong education background in electronics. Uh, he himself started this journey as Unistring, and now since last couple of years, uh, taking the journey of UTS. That's Unistring Tech Solutions. I warmly welcome him to take up the journey from here onwards. Srinivas sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Anil. Hope my voice is loud and clear.
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Thanks. Thank you for the nice intro. Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Right.
Good evening.
Good evening to all of you, and it's nice to see you all join for this webinar. Hope another 60-90 minutes that you spend time would be of use, and it will take the journey in the skill area, skill research, skill development to your students will be of use. Now, I would just take a couple of minutes to explain what is Unistring and what we do. Maybe a majority of you might know Unistring and Zen technologies. I'll take 5 minutes to explain about our company journey. Unistring Tech Solutions is centered at Hyderabad. All our production R&D departments are Hyderabad. Our service and customer support are across country, multiple places, and across globe we have other support centers, mainly through Zen Technology, which is our parent company. So we are into design and development of counter drone systems. So I'll just go a little fast to save everyone's time. All these slides will be shared to you for download. Can you go to next? So as Mr. Anil rightly introduced that we are a defense electronics company. So naturally all the tri-services, DRDO and PSU such as Bharat Electronics, ECIL, and major industries like Adani, and they're all our customers, key clients. Can you go next, please? So Unistring is one of the fast growing defense industry in India with a specialization built in counter drone. I have details in my subsequent slide. Can you go next? Counter drone system was deployed at Red Fort. And since then, now as and today, we have produced more than 150 counter drone systems, and majority of our systems were used in Operation Sindoor for the drone detection and drone jamming. This is one of the photograph of Zen delivered system to Indian Army, which is proudly used by Indian Army during the Army parade at 26 Jan 2026. Can you go next? So this is a key leadership at Unistring. Me and Dr. Nagendra, we both with ex-DRDO background. And you can also see the Gen CMD and the Gen key people in our board. Zen is being our parent company. The total board consists of Unistring and the Zen key management. Can you go next, please? So these are some of the awards that what Unistring received. In fact, this slightly older update, very recently we were awarded with Elsina award, and that's missing here. Yeah, sorry, you kept it here, Elsina Award 2025. Yeah. So if you browse on the Unistring, you will see in the recent days, Unistring was awarded by the Defense Innovation in the radar and RF detection and drone jammers. So it's all over in the news for the Unistring grabbing the Elcina award. Can you go next, please? Yeah. So now this is yeah, these are some of the exhibitions which you see. I mean, which Unistring has participated. Major defense armed personnels, including the Army Chief, Air Force Chief, several times visited our products, and all our key innovations in the future hard kill solutions with the kamikaze drones, several being launched and discussed across multiple forums. I have more details to show in subsequent slides. Can you go next, please? So Unistring as a company, we mainly possess in-house design and development expertise covering RF antennas, FPGA cards, processors, GUI, AI algorithms, machine learning, all of these are there. So we broadly into three major departments. These are our strength areas. Can you go next, please? So this is a slide where during Ops Indur, the DG, Director General for Military Operations, DGMO, has shown the slide of different counter-drone systems which are used by the Indian Armed Services. These are the photographs of the same systems that we delivered to the Indian Air Force. Some of them are delivered through Zen technology, some of them are delivered through the Bharat Electronics and DRDO, who are our production partners. And a few of them are delivered through Zen Technologies. Okay, can you go to next slide, please? So these are, we were fortunate to be with, very bravery staff. So they were there at different places during Ops Sindoor, and Air Force and Armed Services shared appreciation letters that during Ops Sindoor, without any fear that the Unistring employees could support the soldiers in using the systems. Yeah, can you go to next slide, please? So these are some of the articles which have come in the web about counter drone and the technologies that what Unistring and Zen Technologies developed. So this deployed in the field. Once you erect the mass, it will look like this. Vishnu, can you help me out in pointing out the one which is stalling stand? That is the RF detection system, which is a counter drone system which uses the techniques of RF detection, direction finding, which are popularly discussed in spectrum sensing, direction of arrival estimation, these kind of this. Think these pop-ups of Microsoft Teams I want to switch off. Yeah. So the one which you are seeing is a radar. This is a system which can detect drones up to 12 kilometer at different ranges. Most of you are aware of the radar principle, RF detection, and other vehicle that you are seeing where you have a generators and other, that is a jammer. So this is the one which is used to soft kill, neutralize the drones. And during ops indoors, these jammers are effectively used to ensure that drones drop away 2 to 3 kilometers, maybe 5 kilometers away before the air bases and army sites, protecting our assets and also the soldiers. Can you go next slide, please? So these are images of the same in a different directions in a different vehicle. Can you further go next? So this is one of the technology that what Unistring and Zen Technologies developed. So it is not only the jamming, but also you can use anti-aircraft guns to fire against the drones. And these are successfully trialed out at Bay of Bengal border, because this is an anti-aircraft gun which is up to 5 kilometer range. So you will usually do it at seashore to effectively test and neutralize the targets. So successful trials have demonstrated with maybe one or maybe up to maximum 5 bullets, this a drone will be neutralized, and this is an automatic firing No operator is required. If drones keep coming, this Gyan will be keep firing, and this is controlled by automatically radar and the electro-optic system. Can you go to next slide? So this is another system which is being developed recently, and with an expected customer being Indian Air Force. Can you go to next slide? So this is another class of systems what Unistring develops. Unistring with its deep expertise in signal surveillance builds compact products which can be flown with drones. So drone with a low cost drone can fly at the border and collect the intelligence of enemy radios and enemy radars where they are deployed. This is one of such systems. Can you go to next slide, please? Yeah. Thanks, Vishnu. Before I start the main agenda, so letting me to hope. So I request all the participants to mute the audio. I would be actually my session will run in two parts. Once I've done with the first part, Dr. Vishnu is going to take some feedback as well, and during that time there. Yeah. So there will be an interactive session in the mid of the session once. Then at the end of the session, we'll have another question answers. So to save everybody's time, I want you to park your questions and let all question answers to happen at one place. I would continue with my presentation. Just see that my screen is captured properly. Can you confirm, Vishnu, that you are able to see my presentation and
Yes, sir.
yeah, is this composition of the screen size is okay?
It is little, sir. Your PPT is visible in smaller size.
Just give me a minute. I am trying to set up, put it in full screen. Dr. Vishnu, is this okay now?
No, sir. Still, it is smaller in size.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'll go with the conventional sharing. Confirm me now. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Thanks. Okay, so I know why all of you are here. Mr. Anil has explained about Unistring and our company background, and maybe once you understood that what Unistring all does, so you know better what is the background with which I am discussing, the background knowledge and the background this. Just to give you an insight before I go into what is this initiative and mainly what is this webinar about. See, Unistring today is with the 600 employees, like 250 employees plus in the R&D division, and 350 plus, with the production and customer support divisions. Unistring is one of the fast growing company. Like we doubled our manpower in last 1.5 year. We were around 250 to 300 around 1.5 year. Now we are 600. And Unistring with its parent company Zen Technologies is doing a lot of R&D in the Indian armed technologies, defense electronics such as radars, counter drone, a lot of things. Like if you see in the news, Unistring is the design and development and production agency for the Zen Technologies. And in addition to that, the Bharat Electronics, Tata, Adani, L&T, for all of them, the DRDO developed TOT for the counter drone. In that, the RF detection, RF jamming, GNSS spoofing. So when we are expanding in such a fast pace, one of the biggest challenge that our company is facing is about getting a talented manpower. In fact, that is one of the reasons still, I could, get a lot of experts in the industry and, build the layer 2, layer 3 in the company. And, maybe the top vice presidents only talk to me. I don't talk to the working level radar designers, radar coders or something. But still, when it comes to HR, which has become a challenging thing for Unistring, I will build strategy and I will do day to day and week to week review meetings with Dr. Vishnu and other people, because HR has become most challenging thing. And when we did an exhaustive survey with other industry through Gyan is our UTS training partner. So UTS training programs which are related to placements, hiring, AI-based interviews and all what Gyan Nidhi offers. In fact, I'm one among the investors into the Gyan Nidhi to see to it that this company comes to a level of meeting all the Indian electronic and electrical industry HR requirements. What we discovered is that the most critical thing today any industry is facing, especially in the core engineering domain, electrical and electronics domain, or defense electronics domain, telecom domain, IoT, VLSI, in all of them, the biggest challenge that any company is facing today is about the manpower. And when we did a deep research with the skills that are required for different JDs, at some point of time, rather Anil would show or I will show the Gyan Nidhi's AI agents which dig all the JDs and pull out the skills required. The summary is surprisingly actually very simple, that most of the industries what they expect can be taught very effectively in 20 to 30 hours, and an individual whom you are finding difficult to place in a core industry can be placed with a decent package, and even the faculty can develop lot of skills to take up industrial R&D. And today government of India, Ministry of Electronics, what is that called, chip to startup program, like this several initiatives are there where a lot of funds are there, faculty can take up research projects. So this webinar is intended that we want to encourage you that you sign an MOU with our Unistring and Gyan Nidhi, and we want to sponsor an industry delivered, an industry person's delivered course, which is also recognizable if your college has that framework. Dr. Vishnu going to throw some light on this. So it is a recognizable credit based course. Your students will be studying this as one of their equivalent course in third year or final year, and in addition to that they will be getting job placements, internship opportunities, placement opportunities from Unistring and several hundreds of companies which Gyan Nidhi is talking to in the core electrical and electronics industry. So this webinar is about speaking more details about what are those courses, how Unistring would like to sponsor this complete theory and lab with zero cost to the college, and how we want to encourage you to take up the industry level R&D, and your students should get core electronics jobs. These are the details. Hope this preamble would set necessary grounds. So jumping into this is what I said, the industry skill development is extremely critical. It has become so critical that a company CEO like me want to talk to all the hundreds of colleges and say, come on, let's work together and let's build the youth, whom we can observe into our R&D. And we wish to actually talk to you if you are capable of taking some, some skill research lab, if you want to conduct skill laboratories, embedded system or VLSI at your college, we want to sponsor the lab. And we at the end we will talk about how these skill courses can help students. We will go definitely details into this. Okay, now this is what is the biggest motto. You know that a strong nation is actually possible with a well-trained and well-guided youth. And the most important fact that it is a pride aspect for engineering colleges and engineering students. It is also responsibility on our shoulders. It is the engineers who build the nation. It is the civil engineers who know how to construct a flyover they can build. It is the electronic engineer who knows how to build an IoT embedded system can build a system. It is the AI engineer who builds basically a data center research and all can. So it is the engineers at the bottom, okay, of the entire nation building. It is the core engineer talent. So if engineers are strong, a nation will actually, lead towards productivity. If engineers are weak, whatever magics that you talk, the nation cannot increase its productivity. And the most important thing here during my entire talk, please always understand this. I am not trying to humiliate any of our educate system. I am not trying to say that, the faculty is not doing the job. I'm not trying to say that, the AICT or UGC not. But what I'm trying to say, there is a small element of the touch, a practical touch, and applied knowledge is what is actually missing. And in fact, the important greatest discovery that what we made is, it is much simpler than what you teach them. It is whatever the industry needs. In fact, this is what an interesting thing to prove to you that what an industry needs, the knowledge, concepts and tool is easier than what you are training your, the little what is it called, enthusiastic engineering students, by giving that practical touch and application, the engineers become, their employability multiplies by 10x. That is what I'm going to cover through examples in my talk. Now, this is one of the important thing. Like I got fed up with my own team leads and in the company, and also the entire trend in India. Every company want to have experienced people. Now you see, let us say in India, we have hardly any companies in the VLSI. Hardly you have any companies in the defense electronics core R&D, such as radar, GNSS, jammer, spoofer and all. Now, in this era, in this nation, if you want to hire an experienced employee, from where HR departments are from where the society can give experienced employees, it is not possible. What we have to understand, the bitter truth, the bitter reality is that we must groom the talent. We must encourage the students right from BTech third year, final year, MTech first year, and ensure that they become specialists. So how somebody can become specialist? There are some courses in Gyan specialist, industry specialization courses. I'll talk about that later. And start working with freshers only. If every industry starts chasing for the experienced employee in the from other industry, there is no end to this game. Like somebody is working at 5 lakh, I start taking at 6 lakhs. He leaves my company, goes to 7 lakhs, and he goes because the demand is high and there are very few people. And the bitter reality is, even if they come also, to what extent they can deliver in comparison with a fresher whom you deeply, what is that called, train, build the practical knowledge, build the tool knowledge, build the expertise. In addition to that, if that boy or girl is basically a strong IQ, I bet they are more powerful, or they are more capable, or at least equal compared to the experienced people. Now, this is where an interesting thing comes, something called conventional training, unconventional training. What UTS and Gyan Nidhi has unlocked, it is possible to train anything, even on unconventional aspects also, such as documentation, industry standards, how to work in a group, which is called cross-functional knowledge, which is required when you are working in a team. So I have more details in my subsequent slides. So I am one among the strongest believer that please stop chasing the experienced employees in India. The core electronics or the core VLSI or something is just grooming up with the government initiatives. We don't have enough R&D people in India. You might think there are a lot of MNCs there in India, but let me tell you, even the MNCs, in the name of R&D, what they give is only support role. Because any multinational company, if they do core R&D in India, there is always an IP challenge will be there. So most of the times, I know a lot of my friends, my native Warangal classmates, my ISC batchmates who joined in different industries, he is still R&D engineer, but what he does is some support for the actual R&D, which is happening in Silicon Valley or some European country. Now, this is one of the slides which I would love to present in any of the presentations, and you all guys being faculty and training and placement officers, across this, you have to build this confidence in the Indian youth that we Indians as genetically carry forwarding lot of intelligence. And before the colonial era and before the Britishers started, what is that called, exploiting our society, Indians have proved for almost 1500 years, right from the BC, 0 AD, from that, we were the #1 GDP producers across the globe. And this is not the data that is produced by the Indian historians or, Indian scientists. It is a globally accepted standard data which is available on the web. So we are the one of the best designers that what actually, and not only that, today also we know who are the people. If you see all the top CEOs of the Silicon Valley, they are Indian origin people, or the Indians directly who went there, including, the Microsoft, I don't have to give the name, all of them, So it is Indians who possess, deep design and technical expertise. And now the Indian government schemes are telling you build everything here. Defense you build here, electronics you build here, ICs you build in India, and government is flooding tens of thousands of the crores. But all companies are finding the biggest challenge, where is the manpower? And that is what we are trying to discuss today. And not only the history, the Indian governments, with the continued, policies with encouraging to the, what is that called, government encouraging policies. We know that how our GDP is growing well and all. So we know our strength, we know our weakness. Our weakness is we are unable to keep the core talent within country. Our strength is we are capable of producing actually, thousands of lakhs of capable engineers every year. Imagine that you are able to actually produce more and more, core capable people. Everybody need not invent an algorithm. In fact, there is no space also to invent algorithm. Every day, every person need not invent anything new. Simple regular works, if an engineer can do efficiently, he is highly demanded product, okay, in Indian growing industry. Of course, this is what is the most important point we mentioned, and that is very important, and every sector technically depends upon these professionals. Okay, we discussed on this point. Now I'm coming to the main point. Why I am talking to you? Why Unistring want to talk to faculty? Why Unistring want to start this skill research lab and all? The most important thing today everybody is with a dilemma. Everybody is highly cluttered with knowledge. Lot of everywhere knowledge is available. Chat GPT, you ask one question, it generates 10-page paragraph. You type in YouTube, I want career guidance, you get hundreds of career guidance videos, what to try and all. I'm one of the strong believer that an undergraduate student gets highly influenced by the faculty. I can recollect my college days when I was in NIT Warangal. Our professor, fortunately, I met the professor, Dr. P. Sriharao Garu, just 4 days before only one of the Bangalore conference. So our professors, I recollect all those professors who shaped our thinking, who shaped, our thought process, who influenced our personality. At undergraduate level, it is a faculty member who has the highest influence. If you say, boss, you learn this, all these concepts, you are likely to get jobs, they start learning it. If you say that no, core electronics, you don't know whether you get job or not, they think, okay, core electronics is not for me, core electrical is not for me, okay, let me search AI, let me search Python and all. They can still learn AI, they can still learn Python. When they start learning AI and Python along with the core electronics, they become a very, very powerful product for certain company segments. I have details in my subsequent slides. Now you decide the mindset, you shape the mindset, you tell them how technical depth they have to learn, and you give the correct direction. So this is very important, as in your directly or indirectly you influence their thought process. So please align with the government of India and the private industry such as Unistring initiatives, that there are hundreds of crores and thousands of crores government is flooding for encouraging this defense industry, IoT industry, VLSI industry and all. And startups are coming, and startups are becoming unicorns, and they are getting billion-dollar funding, the $10 million funding, etc., etc. But everywhere the same problem, there are no people to work. Teaching can connect theory and the real world application. This is where, so what we strongly advise, when I go to my 13th slide or maybe 15th slide, I start explaining about our skill courses. Once you look at the skill course, what is our interest is, from each college, wherever the skill course being delivered by industry experts, and the skill labs being conducted by industry experts or maybe GNI subject experts remotely, we want enthusiastic faculty members. We don't have any limit. You want to put 5 people, 10 people, you start learning from these skill courses, the industry required tools, industry has a problem statements and all. Then take up in your project works, in your case studies, in your papers, IEEE paperwork, in your PhD guidance problems, utilize these techniques and solve the real world application problems. See, let me tell you honestly, whenever we look at a PhD publication or IEEE MTech paper or something like that, they do too abstract work. And when we try to check the talent of the student with respect to that, he is too far from any industry use case. So this is where, in fact, in our skill course, when Dr. Vishnu presents our skill course training modules, you will realize they are not hi-fi, they are not scientific, like talking Kramer-Rao lower bound, talking hidden Markov model. They are not that complicated. They are the simple practical things any industry needs, and by learning those things, faculty becomes industry ready R&D, students become directly employable. No doubt about that. I would be ready to bet on this topic and debate with anybody who says this course is still not adequate for fresher level job. I'm so confident on that. Okay, now this is a very interesting thing. I know that in all the engineering colleges, manaku, I mean, there is one saying in Telugu, right? Wherever manaku palluna chettike raala debbalu annattu. Sorry if somebody cannot understand. What I'm trying to say that, if you have a tree with fruits, that is a tree that takes the maximum stone impacts. So if you are a dependable faculty, let's say you are already doing reasonably good in your teaching, in your programs for MTech, in advising the colleges how to take this accreditation and this, that and all, naturally you are heavily loaded. If you are heavily loaded, then these are all expectations that college would have. But what we are trying to say, you would actually outperform once you take an active involvement working with UTS and Gyan Nidhi for the skill courses. Today UTS has proposal for 2 skill courses, but Gyan Nidhi is ready with basically several industry experts like UTS and up to 4 to 5 skill courses. But first we want to see whether really a university will be interested to work, whether AICTE framework allows you to launch this course. That is where today we are going to discuss during the break time with your feedback. So once you take up the skill courses, whatever a faculty is expected to do all these good things, you become guest, you start giving guest lectures to other engineering colleges, you start doing what is that called, go to industry and start doing some research. I think today AICTE has one program, they want faculty to go to industry. We have already loaded our application at UTS, you can apply to that. So all these things you can do. Now this is another interesting thing. I keep telling to UTS and the Gyan Nidhi team that you should see that one is the research faculty, second one is HOD or TPO. You are the one who make policies. In my point of view, it is a TPO is a bridge between a college and industry, and this bridge is a very powerful bridge. In fact, I have a straight question to all the colleges, and not only colleges, even the AICTE, UGC, or anybody who is sitting on the other side, academic side. I am now keeping myself in the industry side. If a college is producing the manpower, if that manpower cannot be placed in the industry, what is the productivity of the college? Why college has to say that I am giving BTech degree to 60 students and MTech degree to 20 students? I would rather say that in the 60 students, if you are able to show placements and employability to only some 20 students, you say that you are only able to give productivity of 20 students only, because the certificate that you gave, the knowledge that you gave, if it cannot give employability for a student, naturally what is the value addition as a college? And remember, this entire value addition comes with a proactive TPO. That is where Gyan Nidhi is collaborating with the TPOs, and Gyan Nidhi has a separate TPO network. In fact, they organize a couple of events for TPOs exclusively to network and all. And Gyan Nidhi today is with hundreds of companies like Unistring and all. They are going in a massive way exclusively in the electrical and electronic industry, core industry, because there are other industries, there are other HR companies doing the job. So TPOs and HODs play a phenomenal role. I mean, I keep using TPO HOD as an alternative, because in some of the colleges the TPO only looks at a managerial angle. It is HOD who looks at the technical angle for the companies to brief about what your students do, projects, etc., etc. And here the Gyan Nidhi MOU signing can become very magical. Okay, now this is faculty, maybe this is something which is I was mentioning about it, right? This is one of the important discovery that we made when we studied about the job discoveries, job descriptions, and when we studied about the job roles. Actually, most of the things are very simple. Let me tell you one simple example. See, if you, let us say, if you are expecting your circuit design course, because I'm taking circuit design, that is common to electrical, common to electronics and communication, common to instruments course and all, you would make your boy or girl to basically by heart the rectifier. You would also train them on ripple factor. You will teach them full wave rectifier, you will teach them half wave rectifier, you would teach them all this. But do you know, finally when they come to industry, 99% of industries, you don't design rectifiers. You would rather use an IC which has got an inbuilt IC or a module which is AC-DC converter, and a person with a knowledge of just 4 specifications: efficiency, output ripple, loading based current dropping, etc., and protection, any short circuit protection, that man will outperform if the man is trained on reading the data sheets of AC/DC converter modules. And this AC/DC converter module for biomedical, what certificate is needed? For defense, what certificate needed? For IoT industry, what certificate needed? For telecom, what certificate is needed? Because your product has to get certified. And you know, when you build any product, they do electromagnetic interference and electromagnetic compatibility test. And it is your power supply on which they inject one spurious signal and see your line filter is able to filter or not. Now you see, you only judge, and you only tell me if you say that you are making them to by-heart rectifier, half wave, full wave, bridge rectifier, ripple factors, they are by-hearting. No need to by-heart also. If they are able to use ChatGPT or Google, having given the task for biomedical, your requirement is, let's assume the biomedical is some pulse analyzer or some ultrasound machine. You are supposed to take 230 volts and give a suitable module which is AC/DC converter, which has a current voltage requirement of 12 volts. Current required, I mean, actually it will have a range like 15 volts to 12 volts. Current requirement maximum of 3 amps. 3 amps is a steady current, surge current of 6 amps. Now this is what we are going to train in the skill course. We will take you from the where you left. You left basically at the diode, bridge rectifier, ripple. We will say, boss, all that you by-hearted, your efforts are highly appreciated. Don't by-heart. Read the 10 data sheets. And this is a biomedical equipment certificate needed. Identify what is this. One industry theory session by biomedical subject matter expert. One assignment where they give a small problem statement, maybe one laboratory where they take such AC/DC converter, measure with their own hands and it validate this. This is what is a skill course about. In a simple example, if I have to teach. So now I want to take a quick feedback in the chat window. I want all participants to type what is easy. Industry skill is easy or what you are teaching is easy. I just want to have a quick look at the chat box. Can you please type? So now, yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks. So now there is a mixed feedback. Somebody is saying theory is easy, somebody is saying skills are easy. But what I will also tell you, maybe I would like to stop presentation and explain one of the important thing. You have to look at the cognitive element. If possible, organizers, can they put my video as the default video that they see? Others have switched on the videos. Are you advise the participants? Yeah, right. So what I'm trying to say, see, at the end, maybe when your break conversation is going on, I will share a couple of slides. This has been well discussed in the cognitive, how the human brain is wired to learn and everything like that. See, we are actually, I mean, we are more trained. I mean, our human brain is more wired to use all our sensory system, eyes, ears, what you see. That's why, what happens is whatever you practice is likely to basically you remember for a more time. And whatever you only learn as an abstract thing means you learn something, you just reproduce the same without connecting to an application, without getting a feel of doing with your hands or applying that on something, like you are likely to forget. So what happens is, when you try to teach them most of the theory fundamentals, and when you actually leave it over there, that will fade out of their brain very fast, and they're all unconnected. Like for example, what you teach, electromagnetic interference in your network theory and all, antenna theory, you say that any wire acts as a radio, and what you teach in your rectifier theory, and what you teach, in your components and other, capacitor will shunt. Imagine all four of them are connected, and they are trained on how to put a shunt capacitor when there are voltage shoots during the surge, so that the voltage shoots are reduced and your product gets qualified for biomedical. This is what actually industry needs. So this is a point number one. The point number two, what I want to actually to tell, first of all, I mean, this is an important point, and this is worth of talking at a top level, the ASCT, UGC level and all. When the entire industry is ready to give the Google and Chat GPT and all, what is the point of that kind of question papers where we expect them to write in a closed pen and all, make them to, if you want to do it, I will tell you what all to be by hearted. You by heart that milli mega units and all tables, and some arithmetic equations, some important concepts, but let the people to use basically the industry possible things, whatever the chat GPT you want to use, but still create a question paper which they find difficult to solve. Imagine, for example, if I can give all my 250 R&D engineers, I'm giving all my 250 engineers, R&D engineers to use ChatGPT and also Google, but only thing because of defense confidentiality, they don't use ChatGPT on the same computer. They use another computer, but can still get the data into their actual working computer. But we are not able to build all the global products. It means even though you give Google and ChatGPT, there is some amount of knowledge, skills, and background concepts that one need to train. Imagine that your syllabuses are more added with this practical touch of this industry course, the kind of example that I told. If 95% or 99% of the industry embedded is never designing rectifier on their own, because there are well established modules are there, AC/DC converters, and 95% of the people are only supposed to study that AC/DC converter as a black box. Is it not worth that we train them on a at the third year or final year and build employability? Is it not worth that the faculty learns that these are the modules and take up an R&D problem designing a power supply for an Indian biomedical industry for designing such product? So this is what exactly the purpose of skill courses. Yeah, I'll continue where I left. Okay. Now, this is another important thing. You might say, sir, a lot of core industry is not coming to our college. Our second reason is, sir, core industry is coming in, but core industry packages are not comparable to the MNC packages. This is what exactly my, what is that called, view graph, which is explaining. See, when a core company is coming to you directly, it is a benefit of doubt hiring. Why? Because the core company has to only check subject knowledge that you taught, and they don't have any clue whether these people are really able to perform or not. But imagine the skill courses which we are proposing, and GNI is going to train on digital based through remote labs, AI agents and all, then it becomes a trusted hiring. Let me tell you, there is no dearth of funds with any of the core industry. In fact, I will tell you, the Indian private industry in the core electronics are highly influenced today with the becoming into unicorns. There is a stock market investments are coming. There are a lot of investors who want to come out of the software industry and all, want to invest into automobile, EV industry, IoT, defense, silicon startups and all, because government is putting a lot of money. So if you do one innovative product, government is saying, I am giving subsidy for you, all this. So if you can make a trusted hiring, this is where basically the difference will come. I think the colleges which are working with UTS already, our model, we train for 2 to 3 days. That is little accelerated. 2 to 3 days is what we worked out 25, 26 hiring. But 2027 passed out, we don't want to go with 2 to 3 days of hiring. We are clear, the Unistring want to hire from the 2 months course that what we are offering, because our hiring is so sure shot that the boy joins the company, the girl joins the company, from next day onwards they are performing equivalent to 1 year, 2 years experienced employee. When you can get a trusted hiring, that is possible with the Gyan Nidhi reaching out all the Indian electrical electronic industries, you naturally get higher packages also, and the faculty also gets the R&D projects working closely with the skill courses. Okay. Now, this is an important saying. I know we have enough empathy on the faculty. The faculty are highly occupied with your coursework. You don't get time to basically work with the students on deep research on project works. And this is little what you're not able to do. But what we are saying, the magic lies. You have to only convince your management. If AICTE norms permit or not, Dr. Vishnu has something to show. You take that, discuss in your board of studies, discuss in your syllabus. Can you endorse skill course? And UTS is committed to give 100% free. Industry experts teach theory sessions, but digitally. And industry experts conduct lab sessions. Gyan Nidhi will offer the entire lab what UTS has sponsored 24/7, digitally accessible, including the kits. Then in addition to that, Gyan Nidhi has another paid service. If students need to do deep learning in IoT, deep learning in ASIC, they have additional course modules. Students can learn and increase their hiring chances. Okay, this is what I was explaining about. You know, concepts, when you teach the concept without application, it will go out of their mind very fast. When you show them application, you know, it is. And today with a lot of simulators, emulators, virtual labs, 100% digital training, and you know, the virtual oscilloscope you can train. You can train an oscilloscope more for measurement, rise time, fall time. Everything is possible by the digital methods. Whatever is not possible by digital methods, that UTS is sponsoring the skill labs. The details of skill labs Dr. Vishnu will show. Okay, this already I explained. You know what industry needs is, you know, industry don't have a patience to wait for 6 months or 1 year. And let me also tell you one secret, you know, which mostly people don't discuss frankly and openly. Indian industry, you know, unlike IT industry, like you might have heard that Infosys, once it does hiring and everybody put into the Mysore, you know, their campus, and they are trained so well for the 3 months that a person coming out of that Mysore facility, if he comes out, he is definitely productive. Such a kind of sophisticated training models, which once IT industry has evolved and generated, is not there in the electrical and electronic industry. I want to tell you honestly, Unistring and Zen Technology, you know, such big companies, we can afford to have a corporate training team of 10 to 12 people who are within the company, HR department, and 10 to 12 industry consultants who come and train. But startups, wherever the small companies are there, they don't have a formal training also. Now, let me tell you what is the biggest confusion that comes. They hire a fresher. They expect the fresher to have some practical learning. They're only checking the fundamentals. Now, the candidate might have learned fundamentals with the concepts, fundamentals may be by hearting and rotten mode. He answered, somehow grabbed the job. Now, industry keeps looking at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. They draw a conclusion, freshers are not suitable because these guys are not able to learn what we are expecting. But whether they trained fully, this question is difficult to ask because most of the small companies do not have. That is where Gyan Nidhi's training programs are going up to the corporates also. Gyan Nidhi today has got more than 100 companies like Unistring as partners. They are actually telling that even for your working employees with AI agents, the Gyan Nidhi is offering training. But how about if your student before leaving the college is becoming employable? He is already getting hands-on. He is doing the same work what is being done in the industry. That is where the real power lies. So what we are going to do mainly in the skill courses, we will teach on tools, we will teach on application. I already mentioned about the rectifier AC-DC converter as an example. So we will teach the applications and concepts. We will teach on industry standard. This is what the last one is, what industry says, that is unconventional learning. They say that is only possible with the experienced. We say why it is only possible with the experienced. You know, you train them on defense standard, you train them on defense document, let them do teamwork as a defense project, how they do it. So they are naturally becoming qualified. Give them 1 or 2 chances in industry, they prove themselves. So now they have become equivalent. This is what is basically we look at. Now here, there are 2 important things it's worth of showing. Now one is this one. So now when what Dr. Vishnu is going to show immediately, you know, in next 5 minutes I'll give a break. He is going to show what UTS would like to offer as the essence of all these Gyan Nidhi courses. Like Gyan Nidhi has got PCB IC design. In PCB, you have basically PCB course, PCB practical course, then PCB quality assurance, etc. Then product design, you are designing an embedded product, IoT product, you design all this. Then product integration, again, when you are not designing a product, you are only integrating a product in a production plant, again, those things. Mechanical design, when you are doing thermal and mechanical enclosure design for electrical. Then if you are working on a software, whether firmware engineer, okay, whether this one and firmware, you know, software quality assurance. Most of the today, any biomedical or defense product, your software need to get qualified as per the standards. So that has got this one. If you are working on drones integration or drone design. So if you are working on some domain specific, wireless industry, defense industry, telecom industry, you have courses. So what UTS is doing, UTS is not going to cover all of them. These all courses, some of them are free to the students, like foundation course in each of them is free, even supply chain. Today in the industry, the biggest challenge in electronics is from where your DC motor comes, from where your wireless chip comes, from where your motherboard comes, from where your this item comes, and all of them should meet the product standard, and finally when you integrate them, it has to be a qualifiable working product. So getting a correct component, identifying a source itself is a skill. And let me tell you, this is rarely taught formally in the engineering education. So there are specialized courses like it, but what UTS is going to do, UTS has taken essence of this, in the UTS context to two courses, one course for hardware, one course for software. Once they are completing it, students can take additional courses based on their interest and capability, and they can appear for the interviews. So now another interesting thing, what clearly we are emphasizing, I'll show you. This is something called skill dictionary. So this entire content is generated by generative AI. Is they have taken hundreds and thousands of profiles, job descriptions for the PCB designer. They looked at what are the job responsibilities. For example, this is one responsibility. This is one responsibility. Each job responsibility that one engineer is going to do in his design cycle, what skills there is one lab session, there is one hands-on session, and there is an assignment. And once they are completing the assignments, there is an AI agent which does the interview of the candidates. And if the student has performed well, the AI agent will automatically map to the respect to this one. So if you see, if you go on to the Gyan Nidhi, our training partner, so if you go to Job Pulse, what you'll find is every day, every hour, the moment if there is a job posting in electrical and electronic industry, this AI agent will look at and identify across the country where are these jobs. So as per this AI agent analysis, 8,463 jobs are posted in the last 1 month. This is a combination of experienced and freshers. For example, if you select a combination of freshers or maybe 0 to 1 experienced, these numbers change. So now these are the jobs which are come in 1 month, and this number is basically a fraction because this AI agent is only pulling from the formally posting companies like Unistring and all. So many companies don't post formally, but they just post in LinkedIn, they just post in other sites and all. So if you just click on one of the role, for example, let us say you want to talk about the electronics engineer. Now there are 74 job postings in the recent, and these 74 job postings, now this is the 14th of June. The most recent one in this is so and so company. I did not sign in. If I sign in, I'll be able to see JD also. So Gyan Nidhi's AI agent will continuously learn from the industry requirements, and they keep working with the AI agents and subject matter experts and create the codes. Now you have to do a deep thinking when such a high value skill study and skill research is done under the supervision of subject experts. Like for defense, we are working UTS. For some other IoT industry, some other industry partners, when they are looking at so closely job responsibility when you are training, and each skill is nailed down to the theory, concept, lab, tools, assignments and all, and AI agents are constantly get training and assessing their skills, the chances of that their unemployability almost zero. It is only a commitment of a college. It is a commitment of the student that I will learn this and grab the job. And it is a commitment of the faculty. I will learn this industry and do R&D, either government sponsored R&D, private sponsored. That commitment is only the first and last requirement, nothing else. Okay, so now this already we discussed. A little speed up. And this is now this is the most important thing. The requirement of each industry is different. For example, if you have some course, Udemy course is there, some Coursera is there. When they are developing, considering a Silicon Valley, something else, their requirement is different. But when Gyan Nidhi is developing this course for the Indian electrical and electronic industry, this will be nailed down to the the nuts and bolts will go to so close. When government is giving one certificate, the Indian government given biomedical equipment certificate, these people are doing the practice. So naturally industry would see this fresher can outperform basically a less knowledge or less experience this one, because this boy is exclusively trained on the deep into the biomedical. That is where the domain expertise course comes in picture. Okay, I have quickly 4 or 5 slides. This I borrowed from one of my friend in Academic Staff College of India, showing that we are at an out level. We are saying India is doing electronics, India is developing, but there is an enormous scope for the Indian industries to build. You see, this is all about the imports. Our imports are very huge. Let me tell you, the Alexa that you talk, what is so great in the Alexa that we are importing from the foreign? It has a microcontroller, it has a Wi-Fi chip, it has a cloud connectivity, there is a cloud storage for the AI. Each speech command that you give goes to cloud and process it, but we are importing only, right? So this is where the Indian industry has a lot of catch. Some of these slides will show how our imports are actually growing from 2012 to 2024. The processor and controllers have increased by this much. Printed circuit, these are all our imports. Boss, import is nothing but the money. Why our $1 value is going up to 95, 98 rupees and 100, 110 rupees and all? Because we have more demand for dollars. Like, everybody is asking, everybody is giving rupees and asking more dollars. The laptop which would cost $600 in US, now that has cost is go ahead, it has become 60,000. If a student has to get this one, he has to be, now that post Iran war, post that the supply chain that has erupted due to the geopolitics, how the dollar value is going skyrocketing. That is all because all our electronics is imported. I don't have to tell you that electronics is imported. This is the opportunity for Indian electrical and electronic students and companies to gear up. Okay, these are the different slides. So you can go through these numbers. So it's showing that imports, huge imports. We are importing like anything. We buy phones. We take from Samsung. We use Galaxy phone. 1.5 lakh. That's it. So when you start importing and all, where is the dollar value? Dollar value will skyrocket. So this is the same concept which is explained. You learn, you have your syllabus, you learn concepts. But these concepts, when connected with the tools, applications, standards, then only the learning is complete. That is what skill course is going to do. And this is presented for the third year and final year students. Only third year and final year students, based upon the Board of Studies recommendation, based upon the other guidelines by AICT or UGC or the governing board or university, they can register for this course. And maybe I just give a break here. Yeah, I think Dr. Vishnu is the right guy to take up from here. Share the screen, Dr. Vishnu. Quickly present about the courses that we want to offer and take some faculty feedback also. And I'll be resuming in 10 minutes.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.